Evaluating a linear expression, integer multiplication with addition or subtraction. So it's kind of a long title there, but so with this one, we're given an expression. So the difference between an expression and an equation is that there is no equal sign in an expression. It's just one side, basically, of an equation. So when it says evaluate the expression, what it wants us to do is it's giving us some variables here. So we have b, and then let's see, I'm gonna use a couple of colors here. So we have b and we have x. So we want to plug these in. So instead of b, I'm going to put -2. So I'm going to put -2 minus 4. The minus and the 4 are already there. But instead of x, that's where I'm going to put in the 2 that they gave me right here. So I'm going to plug in 2. So I just replaced b with -2, and I replaced x with 2. I'm just plugging in the numbers that they gave me. So now I have -2 minus 8. So the reason I did the multiplication first was because of Pemdas. So we have to do parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. So, and if you haven't heard the little mnemonic to help you, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Most students have heard this many, many times and can tell it to me. So it's just one of those things that helps you remember the order. But just don't forget this order when you're actually using, and this is literally the order to simplify an expression. So we don't have parentheses or exponents. We do have some parentheses here, but that's just to show multiplication. So we have nothing to simplify in the parentheses, no exponents, so we have to do multiplication and division first. So all we have is multiplication, 4 times 2. So we get 8, and then I bring the negative down. So now we can do addition and subtraction. We have -2 minus 8. So they're both negative. I'm going to add them together and keep the negative sign. And think of this, because this also is another one that throws some students off. If I had 2 plus 8, if they were both positive, you just add them together and say, oh, it's 10. If they're both negative, it's the same thing. I have -2, and I'm going to go 8 more negative. So that's 10 negative. All right, so let's go ahead and try this. And I'm going to see. I'll just go ahead and clear it out. Be a little faster that way. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start plugging these in. So instead of b in my equation here, I'm going to write -5. Instead of x, I'm going to write 2. So I have 5 times, instead of x, I'm going to fill it in with 2, minus, instead of b, I'm going to write -5. And this minus came from the equation, sorry, not equation, expression. And then this second negative came because b is also -5. So make sure you put both in. Don't let one replace the other. And whenever we see minus negative, it's going to turn into a positive. So this actually is that same rule of 2 negatives make a positive, because it's a lot like multiplying 2 negatives together. All right, so let's do PEMDAS. First we multiply or divide. In this case, we're only multiplying. So we get 10 plus 5, because I got 10 here because 5 times 2. And now I'm going to add. 10 plus 5 is 15. All right, so we get 15, and we're going to check. Perfect. Okay, so my next one here, let's do the next one in blue here. So I'll clear this out. So instead of A, I'm going to write -2. Instead of B, I'm going to write 4. So I'm just replacing what they've already given me. So I have 8 times, instead of A, I'm going to write -2. Minus, instead of B, I'm going to write 4. All right, so now we're going to start working through PEMDAS so we don't We don't have parentheses as far as anything to reduce in the parentheses. We don't have exponents, so let's do multiplication division. We only have multiplication, so we have 8 times negative 2. We get 16, and it's negative because 1 is positive and 1 is negative. And then minus 4. So this is another one. We have 2 negatives, but we're not multiplying, we're subtracting these. Or adding them, to more accurately, we're adding them. So we keep the negative sign and we add the numbers. Because I have 16 negative and I'm going to go 4 more negative. So that's a total of 20 negative. All right, so let's go over here. And 20 negative and check. Next, clear this out and let's go with kind of a green-blue here. All right, so now instead of A, I'm going to put negative 6, and instead of X, I'm going to put 4. So we start off with X, so I'm going to put 4 minus 3. 3 was already in the expression. And then instead of A, I'm going to put negative 6. So I have 4 minus, so I have negative 3, because minus and negative actually mean the same thing. It's just how we read it. So we have a negative 3 times a negative 6. 2 negatives in multiplication actually mean plus. Now I can just focus on the numbers. 3 times 6, and I get 18. So now I can add these together, and I get 4 plus 18, and that is 22. So we get 22, and check. All right, we finished another one.